Hi, I'm Daniel from the Understanding What Works and Why project, or W3 project, at the Australian Research Centre in Sex, Health and Society. In this presentation, I'm going to walk you through the W3 framework for learning and evaluation. We use concepts and methods from complex systems to articulate program theories for 3 different programs, using peer-based approaches to respond to HIV and hepatitis C. The W3 framework takes a helicopter view of the common themes across all 3 programs. And to develop it, we ask the question, what are the functions that any peer-based program would need to fulfill in order to remain effective and sustainable in a continually changing environment? The diagram shows the program in between 2 clouds. The clouds represent separate but overlapping complex adaptive systems. On the left, the community system refers to the communities, networks and cultures the program seeks to engage with. On the right, the policy system includes the health system, legislators and policymakers and funders, clinical disciplines, social research and surveillance, and so on. The key things to note about these systems is that they are constantly changing. Outcomes in each system reflect the interaction of enormous numbers of very diverse players. As a result, we never have a complete picture of what's going on or how they work. Programs' effectiveness depends on keeping up with the changes, but they only ever receive partial signals about what's happening. In other words, a program's effectiveness depends on capturing as many insights as they can from practice, and then using those insights to refine mental models of the structure of the systems in its environment, how they work, and how they are changing. The diagram I'm about to show you maps out the flows of knowledge and influence that are crucial to the program being effective and sustainable in this kind of environment. We looked at peer-based programs working on 3 different levels, from peer service provision in a needle and syringe program, peer health promotion targeting sexually adventurous men who have sex with men, and peer leadership and policy advocacy in a coalition of people living with HIV/AIDS organisations. And you can see those in the red box. Most evaluation only looks at 2 things. They look at quality process in the activities and some limited measures of impact on the community. To us, that sounds a bit one-off, like the end of a line. And in the W3 project, we're interested in ongoing cycles of influence. As you can see in the golden box, influence is the first of 4 key functions in the W3 framework. And we define those functions as things that need to be happening for a program to be effective and sustainable in a continually changing community and political environment. Our framework builds on past research that looks at how to improve monitoring and evaluation in programs, reflective practice by practitioners, and the practices that make up a learning organisation. So you can see there that peer-based activities feed into practitioner learning and from there into organisational knowledge practices and resources on the diagram. These support our second key function, which is adaptation. In this project, we have a particular focus on looking for signs of programs changing their approach, according to revised mental models based on insights obtained from practice. In fact, we're quite tough about this. If the program doesn't change, it can't say it has learned anything. The other big difference about this framework is the value that we place on peer-based programs as sources of knowledge about what's happening in the rapidly changing and highly diverse communities they engage with. The quality of engagement flows through to peer activities and then onwards to influence on the community. In the diagram, you can see the arrows show that the quality of engagement flows through to peer activities and from there onwards to affect influence on the community. In other words, if engagement quality is low, no matter how great your activities are, your influence will also be poor. As communities are continually changing, the program needs to use insights obtained from engagement and practice to inform practitioner learning. And a key step that's often missed is capturing those insights as assets for organisational knowledge. We found that insights acquired through practice learning and peer skill can inform the program's participation in policymaking and advocacy within the sector. In this respect, peer insights can sustain influence not just on the community but also on the policy system as well. Lastly, you can see here that insights. And finally, programs also need to pick up insights about what's going on in the policy system. The policy system includes things like surveillance and social research, so changing knowledge in those fields might be fed into adaptation of peer-based activities. But it also includes policy making and advocacy by other players in the sector, and insights about those activities might be fed into strategic planning for the future of the program. Lastly, there's a dotted line showing that changes in the policy system also impact on the community system, but that can take a very long time. So for programs involved in peer leadership and policy advocacy, the community may not recognise these changes as a product of their work. That's why quality and visibility of engagement and direct community influence may be more important to the program having legitimacy in the community it's working with. It's possible to use this framework in a variety of ways. One way is to use it as a framework for inquiry. The diagram is at a very high level of abstraction, and every program in the real world will have different ways of doing things to accomplish these functions. So the definitions here on this screen act as prompts for evaluators to make inquiries about how these particular functions are carried out in a program that they're working with. But the other way to use it is as a framework for developing indicators for monitoring quality improvement and adaptation over time. Does the program maintain up-to-date mental models of the diversity of needs, experiences and identities in its target communities? What would it look like if this were happening? And what different sources of data and insights from practice might inform our confidence that this is actually happening? That's all for today. Thanks for putting up with my croaky voice. If you'd like to learn more, please visit us at w3project.org.au.